This is MasonWebTV, powered by HCC.
The following presentation on MasonWebTV, powered by HCC, is being brought to you by Hood Canal Communications, committed to providing quality services that exceed customer expectations in voice, video, data, and customer service, keeping our community connected since 1934. Mason County Public Health and Human Services Prevention Education Partners Substance Abuse Prevention Coalition. Mason PUD 3, connecting our community with safe, reliable, economical, and sustainable services 24/7. The Conklin team at Windermere Real Estate. When it comes to real estate, nothing compares to local knowledge. Mason County Public Utility District Number 1, Washington State's first public utility district, proudly serving the Hood Canal in Mason County since 1935. The Port of Shelton, promoting possibilities and providing economic benefit to our community. And Mason Health, united community, empowered people, exceptional health.
Everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is Deidre Peterson. I'm the President and CEO of the Mason County Chamber of Commerce, and I am here on behalf of the business community to welcome you, along with my partner from the Economic Development Council. Joining me this evening are Kevin Schutte, the Executive Director of Mason EDC, and John Lester, who's the publisher of the Shelton-Mason County Journal. The Chamber and the EDC collectively serve as a voice of business in Mason County. While we frequently advocate on issues that affect local employers, we are not a political action committee and do not endorse candidates or parties. Our goal tonight is to provide an informative, nonpartisan forum so voters can hear directly from those seeking to represent them.
We also want to thank KMAS Radio and MasonWebTV, powered by Hood Canal Communications, for partnering with us to make this program accessible to the entire community. Before we begin, please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Katie from my team is here in the front row and will be signaling to the candidates when there is 30 seconds of time remaining, and then 15 seconds of time remaining, and when time is up. The time limits will be strictly adhered to ensure we can hear from each of tonight's candidates. And with that, we'll get things started.
Let's begin with our first race for Shelton City Council Position 3, featuring Sharon Sherman and Kenneth Mobley, or Ken as your mom says. Candidates, you'll each have 2 minutes for your opening statements. Deputy Mayor Sherman, you are listed first on the ballot. We will begin with you. Please share with us what you believe to be your role of a city council member, what makes you an ideal candidate, and what specifically inspired you to run. You have 2 minutes.
All right, can everyone hear me? All right, good evening, everyone. I am Sharon Sherman, currently the Deputy Mayor of Shelton, and I'm rerunning for position number 3. To me, the role of council member is about being present. It's about being accountable, and it's about being deeply connected to the people we serve. It's not just about policies, it's about relationships. I walk our streets daily. I talk with our neighbors and our business owners, and I listen to what matters most to our community. I was born and raised here, 5 generations deeply rooted here in Shelton. I was served in the Air Force as a captain, and today I run Ish P&W, a downtown shop that showcases the talent and creativity of over 330 local creators. And that's where my heart is, lifting up the talent and creativity that makes Shelton so special. I also support my husband's construction business, but my focus is on helping our creators thrive. What makes me an ideal candidate, in my opinion, is that I live the values that I talk about: transparency, fairness, and hands-on leadership. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mobley, please share with us what you believe to be the role of a city council member, what makes you an ideal candidate, and what specifically inspired you to run. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. Hopefully I won't require Katie to flash the cards in this one. We'll keep it simple. I think the role of a city council member is to listen, and you are a council member. There are other people on that council. You need to seek connection with them, seek an understanding with them, represent the community as best you can. Not everybody's going to get everything, but if you approach it thoughtfully and considerately, if you research it and use your own morals as a guide to your decisions, I think that's the best view I have of that role, is simply represent. Represent and be a effective member, again, of a council. There's 7 there, and there's 10,000 people you represent. What makes me, I think, an ideal fit is in my professional and personal life, I've encountered many situations that make me uncomfortable, or maybe I'm not prepared for, like being on a stage in a debate, in a political debate. And having had that experience, I look across in a room with some faces that are supportive, some faces that are fantastically supportive, thank you, and some faces that may be either curious, don't know me as a person, or we have not yet had time to interface and where we can find a shared bridge. And so I'm capable of sitting in these rooms and sitting in front of those rooms. I did it, thank you. I love Shelton. It's the first time in all my travels and all my time in the service it's felt home. And I feel called to give back. And it's simply that. Thank you.
Thank you both. We'll now move on to questions from the business community. For this segment, we'll begin with Deputy Mayor Sherman. After Deputy Mayor Sherman, Mr. Mobley will also answer, and after Mr. Mobley's answer, Deputy Mayor Sherman will have the opportunity to respond. Deputy Mayor Sherman, in 1 minute, please answer. Collaboration among city, county, port, and tribal leaders is essential for major community projects. What's one area where you believe interagency coordination could be improved?
Oh, goodness. Thank you so much for asking. I feel like right now, with the possibility of annexation, we need to work together potentially with the Port of Shelton, because there's room for growth there, and we need room for growth. In order for Shelton to thrive, we need to bring in more businesses, and they have a perfect space for that. So we need to have those connections to be able to do that. And if we don't have a good connection, if we don't have those good relationships, we won't be able to make that happen. The port has, like I said, great resources, they have great space, and we need to work together to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Sherman. Mr. Mobley, you will also have 1 minute to answer. Collaboration among city, county, port, and tribal leaders is essential for major community projects. What's one area where you believe interagency coordination could be improved?
Thank you. So interagency, anytime you are operating between agencies or municipalities or departments, it requires a true intent to understand where they come from. And I think often in rural communities, we get siloed in our intent and our purposes. And sometimes we don't share language. The way I see we can improve these interagency communications is to truly seek that common language. As in spaces like this, find common language and not what divides us. And so that's where I would say it's seeking common language, and then once you do, seeking to truly follow that language to a solution that makes each agency grow and satisfy their needs. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Sherman, would you like to respond? If so, you have an additional 30 seconds.
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. We'll move on then. Mr. Mobley, in 1 minute, please answer. Water storage capacity has been identified as one of Shelton's most pressing issues. What specific steps should the city take to ensure sufficient reservoir storage and long-term water supply for both residential and commercial users?
Thank you. I know one step that is being taken is in a recent request to our legislature that was identified, that need for water storage increase was identified. And not only having identified that, which I think was effective, I think the follow-up is now the crucial part to ensure that after you have the ask, you continue to follow through and ensure that ask is heard and understood, and often perhaps repeat yourself and repeat the needs of the community that you represent and ensure that it's satisfied. And because without funding, nothing happens. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mobley. Deputy Mayor Sherman, you will also have 1 minute to answer. Water storage capacity has been identified as one of Shelton's most pressing challenges. What specific steps should the city take to ensure sufficient reservoir storage and long-term water supply for both residential and commercial users?
Thank you for asking. So yes, absolutely. The 35th delegation is working really hard for us right now to make the possibility of getting some grants and some funding through the state for the water capacity, because it's a major thing. And it's funny because we live in an area where we have so much water, but storage is not something we have a lot of. So it's a major thing. We need to be able to build, we need to be able to grow, and we need to be able to keep our people safe in case of a fire. So with the water storage, it's also important that we can actually encourage particular developers to maybe take on some of that and help them maybe with some fees down the road if we can encourage that now to help us, and then we can pass that back to the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mobley, would you like to respond? If so, you have an additional 30 seconds.
No, thank you.
Okay.
We'll now move on to the questions you've prepared for one another. This first question was prepared by Deputy Mayor Sherman for Mr. Mobley. Mr. Mobley, you will have 90 seconds to answer. Deputy Mayor Sherman's first question is, Shelton's budget is tight. If funding were limited, what would you prioritize? Public safety, infrastructure, housing, or something else? And what experience do you have in making tough budget decisions? You have a minute 30, 90 seconds.
Thank you. And that really is a great question. The budget is tight, and it has been tight for a while. And I understand there's a complexity when you have to assign priorities. My answer to a tight budget, and as far as what I would prioritize those options, is housing first. As Deputy Mayor mentioned, steps to incentivize either development or development, create housing, attract people, which attracts business, and which attracts revenue, which allows that budget not to be tight. The two primary sources of our budget are sales tax and property tax, and both those necessitate people to be here or want to come shop here. So housing first. From there, infrastructure in paths, as she mentioned, where we have a lot more ways, and listening to the community, a lot more ways that we can incentivize, ease, or remove barriers that I've heard in many cases to development. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor, you have 30 seconds to respond or clarify if you'd like.
Thank you so much for answering that. So I hear that you say housing is first and infrastructure is second on your priority list. Where would you rate safety on your list of priorities there?
Well, safety first, but in the sense that if you approach those other things right, safety follows. If you increase housing, increase our infrastructure investment and strategic vision, then you can have a better funded, better trained, more capable police force and fire force, and be able to strategically and look forward and invest in water storage and capacity before it becomes a problem.
Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Sherman, the first question that Mr. Mobley has prepared for you is, the city has cited new housing developments, like the 199 homes near Olympic College, as a future revenue source. Yet staff have cautioned those revenues aren't expected until 2028. What specific steps did you propose during the budget process to close the current funding gap without relying on future uncertain revenues? You have 90 seconds to answer.
All right, thank you so much. Yeah, you're absolutely right. The funding doesn't happen right away. Right now, they're clearing land, they're getting, permits are going through. It does take time, and we don't actually see that realized income for a long time. So in the meantime, we have to plan ahead, and that's really what it is. We have to be ready for the next step. And in the meantime, we have to be fiscally responsible as we plan ahead. And also, we have to encourage more growth. We can't just depend on that 199. We need to encourage other developers to come in so that we know that there's more growth possible, because 199 homes isn't going to make it or break it for us. We're going to need a lot more than that. So how do we incentivize that? We make this a community that they want to build. And in my opinion, the way you make a community a place that you want to be is make it a place that people want to be. So for instance, when you drive into Shelton, make it a nice, clean, safe space that people feel like they want to live and they want to invest. Thank you.
Mr. Mobley, you have 30 seconds to respond or clarify if you'd like.
From a perspective of both one who's engaged in the same race as you and as a citizen, question's simple. The budget is tight, and it's been as you were a council member. What will be different in your next term?
Well, is that the same? I feel like we're switching here. What would be different? Interesting. Well, right now we've got new priorities for our delegation. We've asked our delegation to focus more on the water side of that right now. So our delegation is really going to be working for us in the next couple of years. We can't control what the state can do, but we can definitely guide them in the directions that we need them to go to. So, thank you.
Mr. Mobley, the next question Deputy Mayor Sherman has prepared for you is, would you support raising taxes on Shelton residents to fund city services or infrastructure projects? If so, which ones? You have 90 seconds to answer.
To fund things, you need money, and we either need more people paying into the system, ergo housing, which attracts business, which attracts revenue, which attracts more people in the system to offset costs. Otherwise, you have to raise taxes. And would I be willing to vote for a raise in taxes that would either help subsidize housing occur, increase revenue, or if it was to stop, if we were to lose critical services, fire, police, other services that we need as a community to thrive and grow, yes, I would raise taxes. It's a tough thing. It'd be impersonal. And there was a recent sales tax hike that was suggested, and voted down because taxes are a tough thing often to sell, especially in a tight economy. But sales tax, that's everybody that comes through. That's the people that use our streets. Sales tax recoups that. It's the people that come through and enjoy our festivals, our Oyster Fest. It recoups that wear and tear. So I would make a difficult decision to raise taxes if the alternative was lose critical services.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor, you have 30 seconds to respond or clarify, please.
That's all. Thank you.
Okay.
The next question Mr. Mobley has prepared for Deputy Mayor Sherman is, the September 2025 budget projects a $1.1 million shortfall covered by reserves and notes staffing is a key factor in service stability. What steps did you propose to close that gap without using reserves, and how do you reconcile that with the need to competitively fund staff for critical infrastructure like the AMI water meter replacement? Deputy Mayor, again, you have 90 seconds to answer.
That was a really long question. Can we break it down one more time? There's a lot going on in there.
Sure. The September 2025 budget projects a $1.1 million shortfall covered by reserves and notes staffing as a key factor in service stability. What steps did you propose to close that gap without using reserves, and how do you reconcile that with the need to competitively fund staff for critical infrastructure like the AMI water meter replacement?
Well, what I will tell you, even with a budget shortfall, we are looking forward to the upcoming housing, and we're applying for grants, which is going to help significantly. Again, like I've stated before, this is a community that we're trying to encourage big business. And another opportunity that we have is annexation. Is if we can grow, we can bring the bigger businesses in here that will have bigger tax revenue from those bigger businesses. Right now, what we need is hotels. We need maybe a car dealership. We need a bigger ticket items that we can tax so that we don't have to give that burden to the community. Right now, the money's tight. I don't want to pay anymore. So if we can encourage the local businesses and we can encourage local builders to build and grow and bring their businesses to this community, we can bridge that gap. In the meantime, we don't know crystal ball, right? We don't know what's coming down on the pike, but we can do our best to make this a community that people want to invest in. Thank you.
Mr. Mobley, you have 30 seconds to respond or clarify.
No, thank you for engaging in a tough question.
Thank you both for fielding those questions from the business community and from one another. We'll now move to closing statements, and we'll have 90 seconds. As Deputy Mayor Sherman began with her opening statement, we'll hear first from her opponent, Mr. Mobley.
Thank you. And thank you, Deputy Mayor. It's a tough thing, and you do show poise, and I appreciate that. It reflects. My closing statement is simple. Since I came to Shelton, I knew I appreciated it for more than what it was. At a recent city council meeting, a lot of negative things were said or identified about Shelton, but I don't see those. And I know together as a community, we can improve, we can make Shelton like it looks in my eyes and how it's treated me and felt ever since I moved here. And together is how we do that. And engaged in community is how that occurs. I have been since I came here. Regardless of the outcome of this particular race, I will continue to engage in community and seek to find those other pillars that are upholding the things that we appreciate. And so thank you for your time. Thank you for coming out and listening and engaging in a democracy. I, in truth, appreciate that. And so thank you.
We'll end this segment with the closing statement from Deputy Mayor Sherman. You have 90 seconds.
I am so grateful that you all are here, that you care about enough about our community to spend your time here, and even for those who are maybe watching online. And I want to thank you, because I'm learning so much, because I didn't get to do any of this the first round. So I'm serious. I thank you so much. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm learning more about all of this by having this. So thank you so much. And I just want to say, I am doing this because I love this town. I don't love politics. This isn't fun for me. I don't enjoy sitting up here right now. This isn't a good time for me. I appreciate you being here, but this is not what I was like, oh, I can't wait to sit in front of a bunch of people and talk and plead my case. It's not what I do for fun. But I love this town, so I'm here for this town. This town raised me. It's been part of my family since 1889, and I just want to give back to my community. I love everyone here. I love every piece of grass and dirt in this piece of this land that I grew up in. And I want to give back to our community. And like I said, thank you for being here, and thank you for letting me learn how to do new things here.
Likewise.
Thank you. Thank you.
We appreciate both of you sharing your views and your platform with us this evening. Thank you both. We'll take a brief transition while our next candidates, Eric Anisco and Holly Cahoon, running for Shelton City Council, position 4, take their seats.
For transparency, I will be recusing myself from this portion of the program as one of the candidates is my relative. Executive Director Schutte will lead the segment on behalf of the business community, and I will rejoin the program following this race.
Once again, thank you.
You're listed first on the ballot. You will begin. Please share with us what you believe is your role as city council member, what makes you an ideal candidate, and what specifically inspired you to run. You have 2 minutes.
All right. Let me start by introducing myself. I'm Eric Anisco. I'm currently the Shelton mayor for almost the last 4 years. I've been on the city council for nearly 8 years. Was also a local business owner for the last 20 years. I've ran 3 successful businesses and then recently retired from that. I've raised 5 kids here, and I have 6 grandchildren. I grew up in Timber Lakes and went to Pioneer School, and then, on my way up. What makes me a good candidate? I think what makes me a good candidate is I've listened to people for several years on issues with Shelton, and then I decided to run, and I've learned a lot since I ran. And I think that I see the big picture. I don't think everybody sees the big picture on decisions that we make. If we make a decision to do something, how is it going to affect something else in the city or another department in the city? So, and what was the rest of the question?
What inspired you to run?
What inspired me to run was talking to people in the city. And what made me a good candidate is my experience and my business experience. And also, seeing the big picture, or main responsibility, I believe that was the question, is to do a budget and a balanced budget, to hire a qualified city manager in turn who hires qualified staff. That's getting more and more difficult as time goes on because the competing with the I-5 corridor and higher salaries is getting difficult to hire those people. So that is a big goal for the city, is to be able to hire and retain good quality people. Oh, got a few more minutes? Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Calhoun, please share with us what you believe to be your role as a city council member, what makes you an ideal candidate, and what specifically inspired you to run. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Holly Cahoon. I'm running for seat 4 of the City Council. I want to thank the Chamber for this opportunity. The role of this office is to serve as a bridge between our community and the government systems that affect our daily lives. It's about ensuring accountability, transparency, and practical solutions that reflect the real needs of the people who live and work here. My job isn't just to listen, it's to act, to follow through and to make sure the ordinance and policies are not only well-written, but also fairly enforced. I believe local government works best when it's responsive, respectful, and rooted in common sense. That means focusing on public safety, supporting local businesses, maintaining clean and livable neighborhoods, and addressing pressing problems in ways that balance compassion with accountability. I'm an ideal candidate because I'm 4th generation. I have a stake in this community. I've been happily married for 46 years. I've raised 3 kids who graduated from Shelton and are contributing adults. And for over 30 years, I've run my business, 2nd Street Design Studio, and currently employ and mentor 16 women. I think I know a thing or two about negotiation and compromise. I've seen firsthand how decisions made at City Hall impact our streets, our economy, and our sense of pride in this town. I bring a practical and no-nonsense perspective, someone who isn't afraid of hard questions, who understands how to manage budgets, who knows the value of consistency, follow-through. My commitment is simple: to make Shelton a cleaner, safer, and more accountable place for all. Thank you.
As we move on to questions from the business community, we'll begin with Mayor Anisko. After Mayor Anisko, Ms. Cahoon will also answer, and afterwards, Mayor Anisko will have an opportunity to respond. Mayor Anisko, in 1 minute, please answer: downtown visioning and revitalization continue to be important. How should Shelton attract new investment downtown while preserving the community's small town feel and ensuring public safety?
I believe that downtown is becoming more and more occupied. We have more businesses down there than we've had in 10 years. We have new art galleries. We have new other businesses opening up and doing new things. We've got 2 or 3, I believe, that would like to open up new businesses. And the visioning part, it's an expensive vision. So we kind of tried a little bit of it over the years. We've colored the crosswalks. We did Coda Street. Yes, Coda Street is, nobody liked it. It was designed to do 3 things. It did that. It slowed traffic down. It created more parking and ADA parking. The problem is it wasn't a wide enough road for that, and we just gave it a little try. We knew it wasn't going to work. But just trying different things, and sometimes we don't do things right, and sometimes we do, so.
Thank you, Mayor Nisco. Ms. Cahoon, you will have also 1 minute to answer. Downtown visioning and revitalization continue to be important. How should Shelton attract new investment downtown while preserving the community's small town feel and ensuring public safety?
Thank you for the question. You know, we have a beautiful downtown, and being downtown, my business looks right out on the Post Office Park, Brewer Park. I've seen in the last 8 years a change, and we have to decide as a downtown, as a community, what do we want to be? Do we want to be a hub to attract homelessness and vagrants and people who don't use our businesses? Or do we want to clean up our streets? I'm totally compassionate with the people who are having trouble. We have so many social programs that help people who need the help, but we need the state. This is a state problem, and they want little towns to solve it. And we need help from the state to solve this problem. We can't just ring the dinner bell for Shelton for all to come. We need clean streets. We need to support the businesses that are hanging on by their fingernails. We need the police to step up. We need parking enforced. I could go on, but we need to start at basics. We don't need any fluff. We need to start at basics and work out.
Thank you. Mayor Nisco, would you like to respond? If so, you have 30 seconds.
Yeah, we just came out of a very complicated court decision called Martin v. Boise, and we really did not have a plan for, we don't have a plan. The state did not have a plan for it. So we're trying to figure that out. Our biggest problem is mental illness. We've been let down by the federal government and the state for years with releasing nonviolent offenders into our parks, and we need to find a solution to mental illness, and I think that is the biggest start to our problem.
Ms. Cahoon, in 1 minute, please answer. The city faces increasing pressure to balance its budget while maintaining essential services. If faced with limited funds, would you prioritize reducing services, deferring capital projects, or exploring new revenue sources, and why?
Okay, say the first one, services.
Yeah, so would you prioritize reducing services, deferring capital projects, or exploring new revenue sources?
I think you kind of have to touch on all three. We need essential services, and I don't think we should let any of that go. What was the second one? Deferring capital projects? Absolutely not. I think the water is important. I think we need to go after any federal money, state money, grants we can get. We need to plan. And as far as attracting businesses, if I'm a business looking to move into Shelton, I want to know what what the community's like. Is it clean? Is it safe? How's the education here? When we come in and we spend, millions on a gateway to Shelton, but there's covered RVs with tarps next to it. To me, that doesn't bode spending that money we need to look at the whole picture. But the only reason we're going to get people moving into town is education, our community, how we police our streets, and we all need law and order.
Thank you. Mayor Nisco, you will also have 1 minute to answer. The city faces increasing pressure to balance its budget while maintaining essential services. If faced with limited funds, would you prioritize reducing services, deferring capital projects, or exploring new revenue sources, and why?
Well, I wish there was very many revenue sources out there, but there isn't. So we definitely have to grow. Capital projects get you there. Most of our capital projects are grant-funded projects. I do not want to reduce services. We do not need to lay off any more people. We are running on a thin staff already. We're not replacing positions because of our budget. We used $1.1 million out of our reserves, unallocated reserves last year to balance. It's better now. It came down to about $300,000, which means our deficit for the next year will be $300,000. And the council pretty much just talked about using, again, another $1 million out of our unrestricted reserves to balance. So we're trying to get to the 199 homes and then hopefully another 300 homes. And then there's also property out in Deegan Road. There's a project out there. We definitely need to grow. There's no way out. There's no revenue sources out there. And the few that are dedicated to either housing and homelessness or to the roads, there's no revenue sources. We have to grow. We have to attract businesses and housing first. We need the houses. People won't come here without houses.
Ms. Cahoon, would you like to respond? If so, you have 30 seconds.
Eric and I are on the same page with that, I feel. You know, I think Eric, you know, we've had lots of conversations over the years about downtown and what we can do for businesses, and it was what prompted me to run because I just didn't feel listened to. And I think it's important that we can do a lot of things with what we have without spending a lot more money, but we have to enforce the ordinances we have on the books.
Thank you.
We'll now move to questions you've prepared for one another. This first question has been prepared by Mayor Onisco for Ms. Calhoun. Ms. Calhoun, you will have 90 seconds to answer. Mayor Onisco's first question is, you've indicated your intention to reduce wasteful spending within the city, with the lean staffing, choosing to forego filling positions and implementing budget cuts in recent years. Could you provide some insight into where you see the wasteful spending?
Thank you. I don't think I've ever made that statement, that there's wasteful spending in our, because I wouldn't have knowledge of that, but what I feel is that they are not enforcing ordinances that are on the books, things that we can do to improve our community with what we have. We don't have to spend more for it right now, but I would definitely take a look at everything. Everything would be up for examination of how we can cut things if they need to be cut. I'm all for that. And I'm willing to work with the council and negotiate and compromise and do the best we can for our community with the limited sources we have. But the only way we're going to attract people to this town is to clean up what we have.
Thank you. Mayor Onisco, you have 30 seconds to respond or clarify.
I believe I saw the social media, but that's beside the point. There is no more cutting that we can do within the city. We have staff that is working very hard. We have staff that is working more than one job. You know, we have to grow so we can actually hire our staff, keep our staff, and, you know, keep a sense of, I don't know, happiness there, you know, that they're not working so hard. And they are working very hard. Our staff works extremely hard. We're very dedicated employees.
Thank you. Ms. Calhoun, you have 30 seconds to respond if you would like.
No thanks.
Okay.
Mayor Onisco, the first question that Ms. Cahoon has prepared for you is, many residents and builders feel Shelton's city government can be slow to respond and that the permitting process is too difficult, discouraging investment in new housing. What changes would you make to ensure Shelton's government is more responsive and that our permitting process is fair, efficient, and builder-friendly while still protecting community standards? You have 90 seconds.
Well, we've done so many things in the last couple of years, especially with software upgrades, and you can apply for permits online now. Unfortunately, we do not have a building inspector now. We do not have an engineer, and that is part of the problem with hiring and retaining qualified staff on the I-5 corridor when other cities are paying more for that. Permitting has been much better in the last several years. I don't think I've heard a whole lot about it. Staff did bring to us a international code for the city, and we voted that down. We did not want to make it more difficult to build a house. We did not want to make a person who has a $500 Costco pool put a $5,000 fence around it. So I vote no when I need to, and I vote yes when I need to. I voted no for regulations, and I voted yes for regulations because seriously, none of us want somebody next door to us with a bunch of garbage. So, I voted to increase our budgets for code enforcement, and that's just really a big project as well. So it's hard to concentrate with people laughing at me, but that's okay. I'm good.
Okay. Ms. Cahoon, you have 30 seconds to respond or clarify if you'd like.
No, I'm good.
Ms. Calhoun, the next question Mayor Onisco has prepared for you is, homelessness is a deeply complex issue. please share the actions you've taken, such as attending boards or committees or any research you have conducted to address the inner windings challenge of mental illness, addiction, and homelessness. You have 90 seconds.
Well, I've educated myself. I've done a lot of research on the problem. We see it every day on the news, and it's in my face every day at work. Where am I going with this? What was the rest of the question? Oh, I know what I was going to say. I served on our homeless coalition that you had for the city. I spent, I don't know how many weeks there with my fellow citizens and lots of boards, homeless coalitions that we learned a lot from. We spent a lot of time. We spent a lot of time talking and coming up with solutions. We gave the board some things to work on, and not one thing was done. I mean, I never heard another word after spending all that time on that. And we went through 2 hearing examiners and different changes constantly, and nothing was done. I know that the people that I see out my window at work, most of them, I'm only talking about 10% of people, they have mental problems. They are not employable. They can't be in homes. They have problems that our state needs to address some of this. And so yes, I've done the research that your average citizen would do, and I'm willing to learn more.
Thank you. Mayor Onisko, you have 30 seconds to respond to clarify.
I was more interested in, there's multiple vacant boards throughout the county about the Behavioral Health Advisory Board, there's the Substance Abuse Coalition Board, there's just multiple boards that are available that actually try to solve these issues and deal with addiction, mental illness, homelessness, and I've learned so much by being involved. I am on boards. I go to meetings that I'm not even officially on the boards to, so I just learn, and that's kind of how I learned. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Calhoun, you have 30 seconds to respond if you'd like.
And that's great that you're on boards, and I'm happy for people to serve on boards. Myself, my career, I'm at my salon 24/7. And also, I feel there's a little conflict of interest of people being on boards, and you're in the position of delegating money to these people. And I think that's a conflict of interest. I think people should recuse themselves when they're asked for money, and you're serving on the board, or you know someone serving on a board. I don't think it's right.
The next question Ms. Cahoon has prepared for Mayor Onisko is, last year the community spent many hours serving on a homeless task force. Why did the city not act on the recommendations given by the task force? Mayor, again, you have 90 seconds to answer.
See, there were so many on that task force. There was a mitigation site. Nobody wanted one in their backyard. There was an option up on C Street, but there was there's no services over there, and it would have cost the city a lot of money. I mean, that is one that didn't work. Another one was garbage cans for storage, for their storage, and that was another one that needed to be staffed and was going to be very expensive. There was one for a DCR. We accomplished that. We were able to get a grant, and that DCR has done wonders for downtown, the mental illness part. There was one for supporting grants, and we've done that. We support all the grants that we can. I believe it's really, the biggest ones were about money. I mean, it's a complicated issue, my goodness. I mean, it is not just Shelton, it is nationwide, and we've been failed all the way back to the 80s when Ronald Reagan released the nonviolent offenders to save money, and Inslee did the same thing 4 years ago for humanitarian reasons, but he released them into our parks. He gave us no plan for it, a little bit of money to the counties to pass out, but just not enough to solve anything. This is a complicated issue. It got thrown in our laps, and I know it's a big issue, and we're not going to solve it overnight, but little by little we'll nip away at it, and that's about what it is. So,
Ms. Cahoon, you have 30 seconds to respond or clarify.
When Eric, when you talked about mitigation sites, when we were at the meeting, the thing with, we're constantly looking at things that cost a lot of money, but I was just at Bend, Oregon, and they have a mitigation site. And there's no infrastructure. It's a piece of land with a couple porta potties. And if people come to Bend to camp on their parks and their streets, the cops drive them out to this plot of land, and that's where they can pitch their tent. There's no infrastructure, there's no fence, there's no officer on duty. They're coming to camp, so they enjoy the spot that Ben provides
Mayor
for them.
Nisko, would you like to respond again? If so, you have 30 seconds.
I 100% agree. If we can make a mitigation site work somewhere that's not in your backyard or anybody's backyard, I'm all for it. I don't think it can be unmanned. I think it has to be manned. I think there has to be some kind of security up there. Otherwise, we're going to have a big place where, people are getting killed and
Well,
dying.
they're at the park unmanned.
That's a park with the police right next door. So, but yes, I think that if we can get a grant to open a mitigation site somewhere like C Street, I'm all for it. I've been for it since day one.
Thank you. Thanks to both of you for fielding questions from the business community and from one another. We'll now move to closing statements, and you'll each have 90 seconds. Mayor Nisko, again with your opening statement, and we'll hear first from Ms. Calhoun.
Thank you for taking time to listen and to care about our community. Shelton is more than just a place on the map, it's home. It's where generations of families have built their lives, and small businesses like mine have worked hard to keep our downtown alive and welcoming. My focus is simple: keeping our city clean, safe, and accountable, supporting and growing businesses that keep our economy strong, addressing homelessness with both compassion and common sense. I believe we can care for people while also protecting the health and safety of our community. This campaign isn't about politics, it's about pride of place, about restoring order, and bringing back a sense of community responsibility. I'm ready to work hard, to ask tough questions, and stand up for what's right for Shelton. I'm running because I believe in this town, in its people, and what we can accomplish when we work together. Let's make Shelton a place we're all proud of, a place that's clean, safe, and thriving once again. I'd be honored to earn your support and your vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll end this segment with a closing statement from Mayor Nisko. You have 90 seconds.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I'm not going to say everything is absolutely perfect, but I'm going to tell you that I've been a person who's looked at the big picture of every issue, whether it's hiring and retaining qualified staff, a qualified city manager, infrastructure. We need a 2 million gallon storage tank in the next couple of years, or development stops. That's about $5 to $8.5 million build, and it's about a 3 to 5 year build. That is my priority at this point, is to do that. Yes, downtown has had some issues. I think that we could probably come up with a better solution than just having them in one location. But at that point, that wasn't the absolute worst spot. Right now, first responders are traveling all over the town now, trying to mitigate the problem. Now they're up at C Street. Now they're up at the tracks, and then they're up at the up at the Teresa Johnson Trail, and they're in front of all your businesses at night. So I think moving them out of the park, fine, let's have a plan to do that, but all we did was just spread them kind of out through town, and I think we really need to get together and get a plan going and figure out a compassionate plan and get them going. And I think people should come to our meetings and join all these nonprofits in town and try to figure out a solution to see what we can do together as a team.
Thank you, candidates. Let's give them all a round of applause. We'll pause here for a few minutes as our next candidates take their seats. We'll also welcome back Chamber CEO Deidre Peterson back to the stage.
Okay, we'll get started here. This is for seat 6, City Council. And Shauna, and I already apologized if I messed up her name. Her
It's
last
all right.
name.
It's Shayna.
Shayna, I'm sorry. Shayna, now I got my tongue tied. Garbrick?
Garbrick, that's correct.
Garbrick.
Yes.
There, I did better
There
than
you
I
go.
thought. Thank
Good
you.
job.
And Lindsay Sapp are running for this seat. Unfortunately, Lindsay Sapp had a sick child, so she'll be unable to attend. So normally you would have 2 minutes for an opening statement and then 2 minutes for a closing. So we'll give you up to 4 minutes to be able to share your views. There'll be no questions back and forth since there's no back and forth. So you have up to 4 minutes.
Okay. I just want to say thank you so much for everybody that came, and that I'm sorry that Lindsay wasn't able to make it tonight. My name is Shayna Garbrick, and I am running for City Council seat number 6. I am all about action. And what that means to me is that I've already been in our community making changes. With our church and our parish, I went and I talked to our church, and we turned our parish into an Oxford house for recovering mothers and children, because we need more housing for people who are going through recovery. I also spoke on House Bill 2319, and I got together with the Recovery Alliance here in Washington State, and we brought recovery funding to our state of Washington. So I'm all about recovery. I'm all about unity and just bringing all of that here to Shelton. Sorry. And with that, I'm all about justice. I'm all about community, and I'm all about finding the resources that we already have here to make the things work. I'm also really looking forward to doing some fundraising for our community, because I know that our community doesn't have a whole lot of funds, and the funds that are already out there are allocated for other projects. So I believe if we come together and raise funds together, or even ask outside parties like Bill Gates or Oprah, writing them letters to get funds for our community to better help the less privileged community rise up and be better people for our community. I believe that that's how we're going to get a better community. Anyways, thank you so much.
Shayna, thank you for sharing your platform with us. I know Lindsay's inability to participate was not something we had expected, nor had you. I appreciate your graciousness given the situation. With that, we will move on from this race and move on to our final race for this evening, which is seat 7, Councilmember Miguel Gutierrez and Daniel Velasco.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Shayna.
Have a good night.
Candidates, you'll each have 2 minutes for your opening statements. Please share with us what you believe in as your role as a city councilman, what makes you an ideal candidate, and what specifically inspired you to run. Councilman, we'll start with you.
Oh, thank you very much, John. Hi, my name is Miguel Gutierrez. I'm the current incumbent city council member for seat 7 here in the city of Shelton. I'm not really a politician. I'm a teacher, and I'm a coach, and I'm a community organizer, and I ran youth programs back in the San Francisco Bay Area. I'm also president of the Shelton Metropolitan Parks District, so I really believe that we need to get outdoors and get people off technology and start living life and touching grass, as the kids say. I'm also a really good candidate because I've really become part of this community. I've joined the Shelton Rotary Club. One of our jewels is the Huff and Puff Trail. I'm a little emotional now because I just lost my dog, but we used to always just walk there every day, and it's a big part of our community with the Rotary Club and the public and private partnership that happened to make Shelton a better place. I'm also a Community Lifeline board member. I'm part of the Shelton Memorial Park. I was on the Mayor's Gang Prevention Task Force when I was in San Jose. I was also really trained in Red Cross disaster relief, so things like all the fires that are happening or going around, we have a good system here in place. I'm an ideal candidate because I've studied politics. I have a Bachelor of Arts degree from the University of California, Los Angeles, and I studied political science. I also have a special ed credential in from the California State University of Northridge. And why I'm an ideal candidate is because I bring the joy of living here in Shelton, and I see our community assets. I see good things around here in town. I see our trails, I see our parks, I see our small businesses coming back, and I enjoy that every day, walking my friend's daughter through town and my dog, and our accessible streets as well that made that possible. So thank you very much, John.
Thank you. Mr. Velasco, please share with us what you believe is your role as city council member, what makes you an ideal candidate, and what specifically inspired you to run. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening, Shelton. My name is Daniel Velasco. Thanks for taking the time to come tonight, and people that are online. Pretty awesome you guys have joined in. Running for seat number 7. My role at City, what I would believe, is to help the city move forward. We are kind of a little bit of a stalemate. There's a lot of things going on. We need to move forward, and I want to help with that. What makes me an ideal candidate is my heavy construction background. I'm able to read and understand budgets, which are very important to the city. I manage multi-million-dollar projects every year. And that's not an easy task, to collaborate with a lot of different trades and a lot of different people. I'm out there every day doing this work. What I believe the city council person needs to do is we need to help the city manager. Making Mark Ziegler successful is what we need to help him do. I've seen a lot of things where there's not a lot of input, and I'm just sitting in the crowd singing, we need to make some changes here. And I think I can do that. Not I think, I know I can do that. Let's make some choices, and let's move forward. Thank you.
Thank you both. We'll now move into questions from the business community. For this segment, we'll begin with Councilmember Gutierrez. After Councilmember Gutierrez, Mr. Velasco will also answer. After Mr. Velasco's answer, Councilmember Gutierrez will have the opportunity to respond. Councilmember Gutierrez, in 1 minute, please answer. Housing affordability and availability remain key concerns for residents and employers. What actions would you support to expand affordable and workforce housing, including multifamily tax exemptions and diverse options like townhomes, ADUs, or infill development, while maintaining Shelton's neighborhood character?
Oh, thank you very much, Kevin, for that question. We've done a lot of things on the City Council already. We have made it easy to have accessory dwelling units. We've even had almost model plans like choose your own ADU to put in your backyard, floated around on how to do that. We've also decreased the lot size so we can make it more affordable for housing developers to get an extra 20-25% more houses in the same size lot. We've also decreased we took away all the height cap limits. We've also made downtown easy to have single room occupancy as well. We've done so much already for housing. Also, we have a really good model of a Shelton Village for veterans. We need to have tiny house villages everywhere and start getting that idea put out there that we can start building things, building homes at low cost and affordable.
Thank you, Councilmember Gutierrez. Mr. Velasco, you will also have 1 minute to answer. Housing affordability and availability remain key concerns for residents and employers. What actions would you support to expand affordable and workforce housing, including multifamily tax exemptions and diverse options like townhomes, ADUs, or infill development, while maintaining Shelton's neighborhood character.
Being in construction, I'm up and around Tacoma. We don't need to reinvent the wheel here. It's already out there. It's already happening. It's happening in Tacoma. The company I work for, we built a lot of housing for Tacoma Housing Authority. We need to reach out to these groups, find out how they do things, and bring that here. We don't need to reinvent anything. It's already happening all over the place. And this isn't new. Let's just change our zoning so we can start building and move forward. Let's just not dilly-dally. Let's go. That's it.
Councilmember Gutierrez, would you like to respond? If so, you have 30 seconds.
Sure, I did like the answer about rezoning. I think we have a really big opportunity to do a multifamily tax exemption and bring in affordable and workforce housing here in the city. I know that the council is hungry, and I'm willing to work in the future to get the multifamily tax exemption. I would love to make sure that we have at least 20% of the housing units put away for below AMI or median index of people's income. Thank you.
Mr. Velasco, in 1 minute, please answer, how can council members better engage the public, especially the business community, in policy discussions and decision-making?
Can you repeat that?
Sure. How can council members better engage the public, especially the business community, in policy discussions and decision-making?
As a council member, we can listen, right? We got to listen to what's going on out there, listen to what's going on in the streets, not have an agenda. I do not have an agenda as far as what I need to happen for somebody else. We need to hear from the business owners, what they need, give them a voice, and as I keep saying, let's move forward. We're stagnant. Let's go. That's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Velasco. Councilmember Gutierrez, you will also have 1 minute to answer, how can council members better engage the public, especially the business community, in policy discussions and decision-making?
I really think we need to bring back our big meeting of all the local politicians together in a public forum. We did that a few years ago, and I think it was really important that we got together the county commissioners, we got together the port commissioners, we got together the city council. Who was missing was we didn't even invite the tribal members or the tribal nations there. We need to bring everyone together to talk about housing. We can even think about having more business. Well, we're gonna get a hotel maybe with the Squaxin tribe coming up on 101 here. So we didn't know anything about it in the city until it was announced. So we should be talking about all these things. We can run sewage and water and all these things up there so that we can make this happen through business and get this all planned and working together as in cooperatively and not trying to chase our own little rabbits. We need to work together as a big village and work together and hunt down that big deer so everyone can eat. Thank you.
Mr. Velasco, would you like to respond? If so, you have 30 seconds.
Why haven't we done that? Why haven't we reached out? What's been going on where we haven't reached out to the tribe? I mean, they're huge. They do a lot for our community. They're doing a lot in a lot of communities all over Washington. Why hasn't that been done already?
Thank you.
We'll now move to questions prepared for one another. The first question has been prepared by the councilman for Mr. Velasco. Mr. Velasco, question was, you will have 90 seconds to answer. First question is, who are your real-world political heroes, and who would you say you most encapsulates your political philosophies?
Oh, that's interesting. My political heroes. Oh, that's a tough one, I think. There's a lot of guys. It's interesting, but you kind of have to be careful, right? You say one person, and then you get a whole bunch of people pouncing on like, oh my gosh, you can't say that. There's been a lot of different things that have happened with a lot of different people that have been in politics. Jay Inslee is, he's not a very liked person. had a chance to meet with him. I did a 16-bed facility down in Rochester. Pretty good guy. He brought a lot of stuff to Washington State to help with mental health. And people don't know that, but he has. And we've done a lot of that work for Washington State. I wouldn't say that Jay's my hero, but he's done some good, but he's also done some tough things. You can go all the way back. That's a tough one. I could say Bill Clinton and people would be mad. I could say Barack Obama and people would be mad, right? You can say what Trump's doing. There's a lot of good qualities and a lot of guys. You can't make everybody happy, but you try to make the best decision you can when you're doing this, when you're in this role. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman, you have 30 seconds to respond or clarify, if you'd like.
Oh, no, I just wanted to get a sense of who he was, but I thought it would be an easier question and try to lighten it up a little bit here. It's really easy to say Martin Luther King and Cesar Chavez and you know, someone, the just newly sainted Oscar Romero. These are people that really worked for the people, and despite that they're privileged, that they worked directly with the people, especially the people who could not afford things, and that they fought really hard for equality and justice for all people, and those are the types of heroes that I would want, and those are my heroes.
Thank you. You have 30 seconds to respond back if you'd like.
I guess I misunderstood. Those are really good people. They did a lot of good stuff for our country. They did a lot of good things. So, yep. That's it.
Councilmember Gutierrez, the first question Mr. Velasco has prepared for you is, you have advocated for tax increases to support services for the homeless population. How do you justify implementing such measures, and what role should public input play in these decisions? You have 90 seconds to answer.
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked this question. I was for a 0.1% housing tax, not a homeless tax. It was really misreported in the journal. The 0.1% tax I was for was to start to get funds for things like general facilities fees or GFCs, or things that would help start development. So it wasn't a homeless tax, it was a housing tax. It was a 0.1% housing tax that would add 1 penny to your $6 cup of coffee. So your $6.53, your 8.9%, which is still a bargain, at 9.7% in Tumwater, 8.9% would have been 9%. So instead of $6.53 you paid for that $6 cup of coffee, you're gonna pay $6.54 exactly. So that would have spread out costs for everybody from everywhere, not just city residents, but people who come and do business here in Shelton, and people who spend money at Walmart or Fred Meyer. So everyone who comes in from all the counties and different places to be in Shelton, it would have spread the cost out to everyone. It would have not been a burden specifically to Shelton residents, but everyone in the community who spends money. And we are limited on how to raise funds in this city and by the state. We cannot keep up with the increasing numbers, especially insurance costs in the town. We've had a 300% insurance increase, and we only have a 1%, raising 1% ad valorem and 1.1% in taxes. So anyway, there are a lot of things that we can do, and I do support increased taxation for very small amounts.
Mr. Velasco, you have 30 seconds to respond or clarify if you'd like.
I do not.
Mr. Velasco, the next question Councilman has prepared for you is, at a civic council meeting during your public testimony, you proposed a solution for homelessness was to take one home with you, just one. Was that a real policy proposal? You have 90 seconds to respond.
I'm glad he was listening to me. I didn't think he heard me when I said it. I had said it to a few people. So that actually makes me happy. I wasn't trying to develop we were trying to think outside the box is what it was. And I'm going to tell you real quickly, my family has invited people into our homes that are struggling, right? There was a gal that came to the meeting that said she just couldn't find a house because she didn't have kids. It was a married couple. And I'm thinking, well, how can you just walk away from this stuff? If you're really into this, why don't you invite them to your home and help them get to where they need to be? And when I said it, people looked at me like I was crazy. And my mom had done this for many, many years. Like, just brought families in, helped them going, and now they're a part of like the community, they're part of society. One of the kids, he graduated from UW, couldn't speak any English. He graduated from UW. This is what needs to happen, right? Like I said, I'm glad that you heard me, because I didn't think anybody heard me. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman, you have 30 seconds.
Yeah, I did hear you, and a lot of people heard you, but you weren't listening to the testimony that was being presented in the chambers. People there were being human trafficked, and you said, let's take somebody home with me. Go back to that tape in the summer. That was really insensitive, and I was really upset. And that really had a lack of it. There was a lack of sensitivity and lack of understanding of the homeless population and what they're going through, and that really upset me. So that's why I asked the question.
Thank you. You have 30 seconds too.
And I have no issues with Miguel. He's talking to me about being offended. I've left the meeting being offended by him like assaulting anybody that doesn't believe in what he's doing. You're not a Christian. I grew up in church, went to Christian school, did all these things with my church, and you're telling people, if you don't help these people, you are not a Christian. That's offensive to me. I never brought it up, but I was like, well, here's the platform, right? I'm a Christian man. So, man of God.
Thank you. The next question Mr. Velasco has prepared for Councilmember Gutierrez is, Aberdeen has a sit-lie law that prohibits sitting or lying on a public sidewalk in the downtown commercial zone from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. unless it's for a medical emergency due to a physical disability requiring a device like a wheelchair or as part of a permitted activity on the sidewalk. Do you support this policy, and can you explain why or why not? Councilmember, you have 90 seconds to answer.
Oh, thank you for this question. This is the sit and lie law. This is a whole bunch of different laws that are meant to restrict our freedoms to be anywhere. It's really important that when we're in public that we should be able to take a nap when we're at the park. I don't see how doing measures like these help people move along or help people in any way get housing, or these are just issues. It seems like it's very punitive for people who don't have any money or places to go. Where are you going to go if you're homeless? We have a lot of people living in their cars. Whenever I still serve meals at Community Lifeline, and we think we're only going to serve like 10 or 15 people, but once the word gets out, people come from everywhere in their cars, driving up, living homeless, and there are so many people that got spread out, and they're not all in one place, and it's harder to, keep an eye on all the things that they're doing, and it really hurts me to know that there are people out there starving, and there are people out there who don't have anything, not even a connection to anybody, and we're really punishing them for being poor. And I don't think that's a Christian attitude.
Mr. Velasco, you have 30 seconds to respond or clarify.
The Christian attitude, I mean, there we go again, right? It's like, we were a part, my family was a part of the system when growing up. That motivated me to keep going and move forward. And some people just don't want help. Unfortunately, that is just the way it is. We need to help the ones that need help, and the ones that don't need to just kind of move along.
Councilmember Gutierrez, would you like to respond again? If so, you have 30 seconds.
I'm just reminded of the story of not just the prodigal son who returned and the fatted calf was prepared for him, but also the Good Samaritan. And the Samaritan that helped somebody who was beat up on the side of the road and put up 2 denarii and put them up and said, hey, if there's any more cost, come see me. A Samaritan who was unliked in the town, who actually did something that was Christian. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both for fielding those questions from the business community and from one another. Now we'll move on to our closing statements. which each of you will have 90 seconds. As the councilman began with his opening statement, we'll end up hearing from Mr. Velasco first.
What's the time you're on?
90 seconds.
90 seconds. It was brought to my attention at my last, it was my first debate, if you want to call it a debate. It was brought to my attention that I said I was asked to do it, and that's why I threw my hat in the ring. I just want to clarify. I was asked. I went down there and I started attending the meetings, and I felt like I could really help here. I really felt like I could help. I need to help the community that I grew up in. We moved here in 1978. I went to Christian school here in Shelton, Mason County Christian School. It's my time to give back. The person that I am was developed by the community that we grew up in, with loggers, people from Simpson, people from all types of the community. That's who kind of where I'm shaped from, right? Hard-working, good, ethical people. I just want to make sure that everybody knows that where I'm clear at, I am in this race to help everybody out, to help the community out, help out Shelton. That's why I'm in this race. I feel like I can do some good here. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll end this segment with a closing statement from Councilman Gutierrez.
Thank you very much, John. I'm running to bring back the hopes and dreams that we seem to have lost, visions of better life, the life that the kind of people never hate. I love Shelton, and the decisions of our council should be made by thoughtful people who are coming to the council meetings and not internet people who are just trolling and making angry statements that are very, very much based in unfactual anecdotes. I'm running to maintain our streets. I'm running to provide affordable housing. Our ability to grow has been hampered by cutting, and we need to stop firing and start hiring. Especially, we need a grant writer in the city. We've got projects that are lined up and ready to go, but we don't have the staffing available. We were ready to grow. We're ready to let's go, but we've been hampered by all the cutting and the austerity we've had for the past few years. We need to stop doing that, and we need to think about how we can grow. Finally, and most importantly, I'm running to save the public library. I'm running to save the historic museum. I'm running for our animal control services, and I'm running for our humanity. Also, I think there are ideas that we can bring to the business area, like maybe having a public facilities area and creating a space where we use public funds from the state to help Shelton grow in recreational ways and change what Shelton has become. All right, thank you very much, and thank you for your time.
Thank you,
for coming.
candidates. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you, gentlemen. On behalf of the Shelton-Mason County Chamber of Commerce and the Economic Development Council of Mason County, thank you for being a part of tonight's candidate forum.
We extend our gratitude to our media partners, the Shelton-Mason County Journal, KMAS Radio, and MasonWebTV, powered by Hood Canal Communications, for helping us share this conversation with the broader community.
Please remember that Election Day is May 4th. For nonpartisan election resources and ballot drop-off locations, visit masoncountychamber.com/elections and pick up a copy of the voter's guide. There are some extra copies back there in the back available on the table as you leave tonight, also available at the chamber office and at the Journal.
Thank you again to all of our candidates for your participation and to our audience, both in person and online, for your engagement this evening. Have a wonderful night.
The preceding presentation on MasonWebTV, powered by HCC, has been brought to you by Hood Canal Communications, committed to providing quality services that exceed customer expectations in voice, video, data, and customer service, keeping our community connected since 1934. Mason County Public Health and Human Services Prevention Education Partners Substance Abuse Prevention Coalition. Mason PUD 3, connecting our community with safe, reliable, economical, and sustainable services 24/7. The Conklin team at Windermere Real Estate. When it comes to real estate, nothing compares to local knowledge. Mason County Public Utility District Number 1, Washington State's first public utility district, proudly serving the Hood Canal in Mason County since 1935. The Port of Shelton, promoting possibilities and providing economic benefit to our community. And Mason Health, united community, empowered people, exceptional health.
Thanks for watching Mason Web TV, powered by HCC.